don't these burgers look delicious? Hi, I'm Sally Fallon, and I'm coming to you from the vicinity of Mystery Mountain. Way back in 1957, I was the girlfriend of eminent nuclear scientist Steve March, and Steve and I had to try to stop an alien invasion by a giant floating, megalomaniacal, sex-crazed brain from outer space. And thanks to Steve's manliness and daring do, not to mention some quick thinking on my part, we were able to save our beautiful planet Earth in the nick of time. If the name Sally Fallon doesn't ring any bells, that's probably because you know her better as Joyce Meadows. That's the name I used back when I was doing a lot of acting in Hollywood, for both television and the movies. I do hope those were veggie burgers Sally was grilling. We've learned so much more about proper nutrition than we knew back in the 1950s. One of my favorite leading men was John Agar. I was very fortunate that I got to go on 3 cinematic adventures with John, including Flesh in the Spur and Frontier Gun. John played eminent nuclear scientist Steve March in the other picture we were in, an inexpensive B-movie about a colossal killer brain from another planet. It's amazing how this little science fiction film still manages to entertain after all these years. And I can honestly say that thanks to John's heroics, fighting so many movie monsters, we no longer have to worry about 500-foot tarantulas, gill men on the prowl, mole people in your basement, and zontars, swamp creatures, and puppet people all over the place. I was so thrilled when I learned that The Brain from Planet Eros would be coming out on DVD and Blu-ray in both full-frame and widescreen versions, because I always felt that previous video releases failed to show the 2 starring brains in the best possible light. But now, thanks to the gorgeous restoration by the film detective, you'll finally be able to see every subtle detail in the brain's frontal lobes, and even more important, in their fissures of Rolando. So, for the very first time, you'll be able to fully grasp just how terribly evil Gore was, while also realizing what a kind and gentle spirit Vol was. Not only that, but this crystal clear digital presentation will also demonstrate how my 21-year-old feminine charms caused Gore to lust after me, despite his having absolutely no visible means of excitement. If some of this terrain looks familiar to you, that's probably because you've seen it in countless movies and TV episodes. Quite a few science fiction films were shot out here, not to mention hundreds of westerns. In fact, Gene Autry, Randolph Scott, and John Wayne all made motion pictures in this very location. Coincidentally, Wayne was instrumental in getting John Agar's film career started. And if you listen very carefully, sometimes you can even hear the sound of the Duke riding his sturdy horse up and down these dusty trails. That's because old movie stars never really die. They just get re-released on DVDs and Blu-rays that are crammed with oodles of bonus features. As many fans of The Brain from Planet Eros know, part of the movie was shot inside and around Bronson Caves in Los Angeles' Griffith Park. That was a very popular location for science fiction films. Recently, the area where my dad and I first encountered one of those enormous airborne brains was closed to the public. They claim that it was fenced off because of the awful virus that's been plaguing our world. It's my personal belief that the virus originated in a secret laboratory somewhere on the dark side of the planet Eros. You want to know the real reason that area was closed off? I've been monitoring my nucleometer back at the Fallon home, and I've detected some hot blasts of gamma radiation coming from right near this particular area. Not only that, but at times the winds out here have been otherworldly. Therefore, I wouldn't be at all surprised if there might be some monstrously large floating brains extremely close by. Call it my woman's intuition. That area looks suspiciously similar to where my dad and I encountered one of those extraterrestrial brains. I'd better go check it out. Thank goodness I came prepared with my trusty pith helmet, scintillator, and other scientific-looking equipment. That's strange. I'm not picking up any signs of radioactivity. Those brains can be really cunning when they want to be. Oh, it must be 120 degrees out here today. Oh, I sure wish I had my trusty dog George with me right now. He wasn't afraid of murderous, scowling brains. Unfortunately, George is up in the foothills right now, romping around, chasing alligator lizards. The problem with evil space brains is that they float, so you can't even hear them sneaking up on you. It's too bad they don't chirp like birds. That would make them much easier to keep track of. Instead, those brains just drift around silently, spying on you with their glowing bedroom eyes. And then, when you least expect it, bam, there they are. So the next time you're all alone in a quiet place, don't be surprised if there's a humongous brain hovering right behind you, watching your every move. I'm definitely getting the feeling that there are some cosmic brains around here. So I better get back to my search. Along with her dog and her man, an axe is a woman's best friend. While Sally's busy investigating, I wanted to mention that the brain from Planet Eros was my first starring role in Hollywood. Just before I was hired for the brain, I had been playing Juliet in the stage production of Romeo and Juliet. I love performing Shakespeare, but appearing in the Bard's plays definitely wasn't paying the bills. It's too bad that Shakespeare didn't write science fiction stories. If he had, can you imagine the crowds that would be lining up at the movie theaters to see The Merchant of Venus or The Taming of the Killer Shrews? So why don't you just sit back, relax, and enjoy this fabulous presentation of what I honestly believe is the best giant floating killer brain movie in the history of the cinema.
All right, that's a wrap. I think we got it.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm sorry?
Don't you know this is private property?
Oh, well,
That means you're trespassing.
well, I didn't think.
You're darn right you didn't think. And now you're going to pay for that mistake.
No, wait, no!